Hiya and welcome to Wellness for Women. This is where we share all things concerning women's health and well-being of mind, body and soul. So we're going to be talking about 4 ways of dealing with serious illness and to have a positive attitude. I'm just going to look at my notes here. Well, first we have to deal with the diagnosis. If we're under a doctor and the doctor says, well, you have to have ongoing treatment for quite a while, and it may be something that's successful, it may be something that is not, and you've got to deal with that emotionally, and that is really not easy. People can support you and love you, and that is so much needed, and you've got, particularly if you've got a shoulder to cry on. But internally, you've got to deal with it yourself. There's no good denying it and pretending it's not happened, and it's no good wallowing in it and trying to second guess of all the negative things that might happen but also might not. But for your own good and your own mental health, it's good to have a positive attitude. But because we're human and our emotions are raw, you need to allow yourself to grieve. Because receiving a serious diagnosis, particularly, is a time where you have to grieve. Some people deal with it differently to others. But whether you get angry or whether you cry or whether you feel confused or you want to put yourself to bed, allow some time for yourself to grieve. But don't allow yourself to wallow in it to the point you can't get out of it. What I do is set myself a guideline. I have to say I've never had a serious illness, but I've had several operations which I've been living alone, and I had to deal with it myself. And I've had 3 times now in the last probably 10-15 years, I've had to have 3 months off of work to deal with my recovery of these operations. And even then, one of them, it took nearly 18 months. And so, although I've never sort of had a serious diagnosis where we really don't know the outcomes, I know that it has impeded my lifestyle, my independence, and I was quite worried to how I was going to cope. And one of them time was that I damaged my shoulder and I couldn't use my arm for 3 months. And I'm right-handed, it was my right hand. Another time it was my feet, and I live in a 2-story house. I couldn't get upstairs and downstairs. Another time I had a knee replacement, and that was difficult, recovering on your own as well. So I know those sorts of things, but what I do know as well, that I allowed myself a little bit time to grieve over that and thinking, well, this is not going to be easy, but I put a time limit on it, and I encourage you to do so as well. For me, I'm pretty strict with myself, and this may not suit you at all, but I call it Resurrection Day. Whether I'm dealing with something that's mental health or whether it's something that's physical, I give myself 3 days, and I call it the Resurrection Day. And the reason why is because Jesus Christ died and rose again on the 3rd day. So it's a good template for me. That's a good role model for me. So I don't allow myself to feel sorry for myself any more than 3 days. And the reason why for me is because I can go over the edge. After 3 days, it's difficult to get out of it. If I allow myself a week or 2 weeks, it takes a week or 2 weeks to draw myself back into a positive attitude. But that might not suit you. You've got to find out how it works for you. So you need to allow yourself to grieve. So what if you're sick for a long time and you really need to be able to stay positive in the long term? You're going to have setbacks, particularly if it's a long recovery, and you need to accept that. Don't expect unrealistic things. You don't know how you're going to feel from day to day. You have good days, you have bad days, and sometimes those bad days might go into several days, and you need to accept that. If we fight against that, that impedes our recovery because our body rests so it can heal. And perhaps your body is wanting you to rest on some days more than others, so it can heal itself. So you need to listen to your body and allow you to have the rest when you need it. And it could be a bad day for you, or wrap yourself up and put yourself on the couch and binge on Netflix or something like that, or get into a book. For me, when I am recovering from something, I cannot focus, I can't read, I can't, I'm just really tired, and the best thing I can do is probably watch TV or just sleep. So allow yourself to do that. Another thing is that I'm just looking at my notes here. If you've got loved ones around you, spend time with loved ones or friends. I know when I've recovered from operations, I haven't had loved ones around. Most of my family are in Australia. I live in the UK, and the family that is here is hundreds of miles away. So it's just not possible for them to help me in times of recovery. And so what I do, if I've got some good friends, I ask them to help me if I need it. And I'm a pretty independent person, and I've got a toolbox of resources to know how to cope in times of difficulty. But when my shoulder injury, I just moved into a new house, and I fell from a height trying to move in. I was only in the house 2 days, and I had some lovely friends to come and help me, because I ended up in hospital, and then ended up, my shoulder wasn't broken, but my shoulder was torn away. All the ligaments were torn away, and it was extremely painful. And I was just grateful for friends to help me in the first week or two until I could sort of gather myself. Now, I want to show you some cards where I have used in the past that have helped me with positive affirmations to keep a positive mindset, particularly on those bad days you feel down. You need something that to really lift you up. And if you hear a lot of background noises, it's because I got the window, I'm facing a window with the light, and it's wide open because it's really hot here. So these are the cards. They've got a picture on one side. I love this picture. I had this picture on one of my websites at one point. And this one says adventure. And it's got a little saying, and it says, I am open to new experiences, and I will not be controlled by a mindless routine. So there's positive affirmations. This is about success. Oops, just dropped this. We're going to pick them up. And but you can get ones which are pertaining to wellness, and you can get that on Amazon. I bought these on Amazon just for a really cheap price. This one is optimism, and it's about a bridge, and I like the bridges. On my other channel I use a bridge as for the introduction, because we're going from one place to another. We're journeying over difficult circumstances, and we're not drowning. We've got a bridge to bridge the gap, and this is optimism. I am optimistic, confident and practical. Everything I want to achieve is possible. And so these really have helped me. So I encourage you to find some way to get positive affirmations. If you're on YouTube, and well, if you're on YouTube, you're watching this on YouTube. But some people don't use YouTube except for videos like these. But YouTube is of the world's library, and you can get lots of lovely channels about positive affirmations that will really help you to stay positive. So you don't really have to buy cards. These are portable for me. I think they're great. But go on to YouTube and just put in the search bar positive affirmations and take your pick, basically. And the last point I want to talk about is to have an open heart, and so you may find your joy. And happiness and joy is so important for life, no matter what we face, and we all face challenges, no matter what it may be. But we need to find our bliss, find our joy. And it is a goal to pursue. It just doesn't happen by itself. It happens with a positive mental attitude, and that's why in my new life elevation project I start with our mindset, because it affects our body, it affects our emotions, and then as the weeks progress, we look at the body, and then we look at our emotional well-being, our soul realm. And so our mindset is so important. And I've blogged this. This is a blog. I printed this out, and I'll put the link in the show notes so you can go and to read this blog. You can print it out and you can share it and do with it what you would like, as long as you acknowledge the author, which is me. And I hope that this has been helpful to you. Let me know in the comments if you are struggling with a illness and you are struggling to cope. Let me know if you've learnt how to cope and what strategies that you have used. So I invite you to subscribe to this channel so you can ensure that every time a video is posted once a week, that you would get the updates, and also it would help me to grow this channel so I can touch more people's lives with wellness and health. So thank you again for watching, and don't forget to live life on purpose, because your wellness